All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Saturday morning. I am very excited that 161 gets to offer this class. I think that there's a lot of us looking to learn these skills right now. And I just wanted to introduce our instructor. Her name is Anna, and she's here with the pink hair. You can see her on your screens now. She has some really awesome things that she has learned how to do over the last few months during COVID. And I think it is a very opportune time for us to learn from each other. And I'm not going to say too much else because I'm going to just turn the floor over to Anna, but just wanted to welcome her to this Zoom.
Hello. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to see some names that I know. Hello, Andrea Amato. I've worked with Andrea and just a few other people. I'm kind of nervous. I'm really excited. Basically, I'm going to pull up our agenda. That way I have it so that I don't stray from it. I think everybody has taken the poll on where we're at. Did everybody see?
They have not. I am launching it now. Sorry.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Well, basically, so Laura's going to launch a quick poll. We just kind of like want to see where you're at. I know it's like a brand new world in production accounting in a lot of ways because we're moving from paper to digital, but then COVID kind of made that process have to happen a lot faster. And I hadn't worked really digitally at all. I mean, sure, I had used PDF a little bit, but when I had an opportunity to start working, you know, they said they were working all digitally. It was really overwhelming. I was also excited to see, you know, their digital setup and everything. I think that digital has a lot to be desired. I've talked to a lot of people in the industry that I know, execs and stuff like that, and I keep hearing that some of the problems are that, you know, we have all these clunky systems, DocuSign and DPO and Adobe, and none of these systems really talk to one another. There's a lot that I don't know. I know this one, I've taught myself this one really specific thing. And so that's what I'm going to teach you guys today. We're going to go over just like a basic overview of Google Drive. I'm going to show you guys a snip tool, which I really love to use. And then we're going to talk about the Adobe EverMap plugin. So let's see here. So far, it looks like, okay, a lot of people have worked during COVID. That's really awesome. We're about half and half digital only and half digital and paper. And then just a few people who have worked only on paper. And then, cool. And then we're about like half and half. Some people are overwhelmed by the concept of digital filing. And then about 40% of people think that it's pretty simple. That's great. For me, okay, let's see here. So I want to give you guys just a quick overview of like who I am and how I got here right now, showing you the stuff that I'm really excited to show you. Basically, I try to work about 6 months a year. I don't like to work all the time. Sometimes I work locations, sometimes I do accounting. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. And a lot of times with accounting, teams will call me in if they're behind or there's a problem or there's an insurance claim. I like to refer to myself as the Harvey Keitel of motion picture accounting world, the cleaner. So basically they have a mess, they just like throw it at me and I'm like, cool, I'll try to fix it for you. And the show that I'm on right now, they have 4 insurance claims. None of them are their fault. It's a wonderful team. There were just a lot of hurricanes that rolled through here. I'm in New Orleans. And there are a lot of hurricanes that rolled through New Orleans last summer. And they also had issues with their payroll staff. So they had a lot of turnover in payroll, which, as you can imagine, made it really, really crazy. And so when the third payroll accountant from New York, she's awesome, came in, it was just a big mess. It was there were no filing cabinets. There were like no files. I mean, she really got it. She got people paid, you know, and I feel like so often when it comes to these new systems that are being thrown at us, it's like, do you want your people to get paid? Or do you want these digital files? Sometimes it's hard to have both, especially if you've had insurance claims and things are crazy. So they called me in to just help with these claims, and a lot of it was payroll, and all it was on paper files, and it had to be scanned and uploaded to the cloud for the adjuster, but none of it was. And then I thought to myself, you know, all of this payroll needs to be uploaded to the cloud. Our AP side was running great, but we really needed to get the payroll uploaded. And so I don't know, how would you guys do it? You know, I'm an accountant, I'm not a data scientist, right? So I'm going to share my screen with you. So what I did was I just did step one. Hold on here. Okay. So, okay, I feel like step one was go to the old task alpha, you know, with all these paper files that I had, and you can see my little jump drive right there. So I literally would have a stack of payroll files, right, ready to go, and I would just scan them individually. And so I would have all of these raw documents, and then I would have to rename them, but cutting and pasting wasn't cutting it, right? Our production company wanted a really specific naming convention, and let me show you. I'll have to just tell you. They wanted, so in the naming convention of these files, they wanted last name, comma, first name, space, TC for time card, right? And then the week ending, and an underscore, and then the year. That's so when you're in G Suite, you can just type the person's name and all of their files will pop up, and you can just find whatever you need to find. And it sounds great, but how do you get from a stack of raw scans, right, which are trash, by the way, we're going to talk about why raw scans are awful, to these beautiful uploaded, you know, files? Well, I did it one day. I wanted to see how long it took, because our accountant said, oh, that's for the clerk to do. And I was like, well, we have a new clerk and she has a lot to, you know, she has a lot on her plate already. And then the concept of she has to take these paper files and move them all to the digital realm, like it was really overwhelming. How is this entry-level person gonna like figure out how to do this? So I did it one day with a lot of cutting and pasting, and it took a whole day of focused effort. And I thought to myself, no human should ever have to do this, because what's going to happen is the way that I did it, you're going to have to do all of that same work the next week. For every week of payroll, you'd have to cut and paste and rename these files, and no one should have to do that. And so I went to the internet and I said, internet, there's got to be a better way other than cutting and pasting. I had some friends of mine come back to me, friends that work at JPL who just put the rover on Mars. We're like, you need EverMap. Plus your husband, my husband is a computer programmer. They said, your husband can help you because he writes code, and some of these programs accept code. Well, like I said, I'm an accountant, I'm not a data scientist. So we worked on getting this naming convention done. And we've got it down now to where I could name 300 of these payroll files like pretty instantaneously after we've done some magic on the raw scans. So let me get to it right now and show you. I'm having a little problem. There we go. Okay. Okay, so, and bear with me, again, I'm a little nervous, so thank you so much. Oh, one other thing before we get started, like I was saying, I'm really good at this one really specific thing that I've learned. And based on the poll, it sounds like a lot of you are really comfortable with digital filing. You're really comfortable with digital systems. It's really awesome. I think now is a really good time for all of us to learn together and just help. If I can help you in any way ever, please reach out and let me know. And I hope I can learn from everyone today. My goal for this class is that everyone learns at least one thing from me today, and then we'll have lots of time for Q&A, and maybe we can all learn things from one another. So that's where we're at. Okay, let's see here, maybe a show of hands. Is everybody pretty comfortable with Google Drive, G Suite? I don't know if there's a way that we can like get a show of hands with that or not. I thought that I would, Laura and I talked about it. So I'm just gonna go over G Suite, Google Drive. When I started with my show, they were like, do you know what G Suite is? And I was like, no. And they're like, oh, it's Google Drive. So just knowing that if you're in a situation where someone says, do you know G Suite? You know, just know that they mean Google Drive and the terms are interchangeable. I'm not comfortable actually going through the Google Drive on my show. So I'm going to show you my own personal Google Drive, which has just like some personal stuff on it. And we're going to create a folder. And I apologize if some of this stuff is like really super basic. I'm sure most of you already know it, but we'll get through the basic stuff and then get to the EverMap plugin. So I'm going to show you guys my Google Drive, and then I'm going to show you screenshots of kind of the show that I'm working on, the Google Drive setup, just so you can get an idea of what like a whole digital filing process looks like. Okay, so here's my Google Drive right here, and it's got like a bunch of my personal stuff in it. When you can go to your Google account here, and you can see, you know, I have several different Google accounts, right? Like I have lots of different things in my life that I do. So, but this one right here is for the show that I'm working on. And I could click on that, right? And then just, if I were to click on this, I would go into my Google Drive for my show, right? But we're not going to do that. If you did click on that, then you could go to this icon and you could just go to Drive, and then you'll get to your Google Drive that way. So we're at mine. I have a picture here. Oops, here we go. I have a picture here. I want a new folder. This picture was taken when I was in Iceland. So we're gonna call this new folder Iceland. We're gonna create it. And we're just gonna like drag and drop that into there. That's pretty much how Google Drive works. So now I want to show you though the G Suite for my show. So imagine we're at my Google Drive for my show. My computer is slow. I'm gonna get a new computer soon. It's gonna be exciting. Okay, so that's the first part of the Google Drive. You have three options, right? We have shared files, we have our filing, and then we have just a whole folder just for payroll. So if you were to click into this accounting shared files part, next you would see this is an example of what some of our shared files look like. Right? So we have all of our AP to enter, our AP to match, our AP to write up, our approvals, all of that. Honestly, I don't deal with this a lot. There are a lot of people who have dealt with this probably in this meeting who know this system really well. I look forward to the day that I learn to do all of this kind of digital flow really well, but I'm in the background doing other things on my show right now. And that's one picture. And like, it just keeps going. Hold on, I'll show you more. So everybody has an inbox. See, everybody has an inbox. You know, we have folders for everything. basically. Just everything that you would have in a normal, you know, filing cabinet in your office, only it's digital and it's in the G Suite, right? So you can see, okay, there's that. Then I'm going to show you the filing. This is a picture, again, just a picture of what the top level of our G Suite or G Drive, our filing looks like. It's just like a filing cabinet, only it's digital. So I am in payroll quite a lot. I'm in journal entries a lot too. Not doing cachet, thankfully, on this show. So that's the top level of what it looks like. This is what you see right here when you click on this on my show in the filing. Okay, so that's that. Oh, and then here's filing. I wanted to show you more kind of granular level of it. So if you were to click the filing, you would then go to this screen and you would have all of these options for your filing, right? This is what our below the line looks like. It's just, you know, a letter for each file. I'm going to show you what's in those files, but I'll show you M. If you were to scroll down in our filing system, you would find M. My last name is Metcalf, and you would open Metcalf Anna, and there's all my time cards. So that's how that works. Oh, hopefully my internet. Hopefully my internet connection doesn't go out. It is New Orleans, and that kind of thing happens. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my agenda just to make sure. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, cool. I don't know if anybody here knows the snip tool, but I love it. I'm going to teach you guys really quickly how to use the snip tool, because sometimes, you know, you want to take a screenshot. Probably everybody knows how to do print screen on their keyboard and take a screenshot of your computer. But if you're like me, a lot of times you might have things on your desktop that you just don't want everyone to see, and so you want to snip. So I have, or like if you have a really good meme or something and you want to just get the picture out of the meme, that's what we're going to do right now with the snip tool. So I picked a meme for you guys. I wanted to make it fun. I wanted to make digital filing a little fun. Oh, that's not the right one. Let's. Oh, I don't know what I did with it. Maybe it's in here. Oh no, we're going to rename those files in a minute. Huh. I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I'm going to show you the snip tool without a meme. I had a really cool meme picked out for you. Okay, so we're going to go new, right? New tool. Okay, and so your screen will get kind of cloudy like that. And then here, let me actually show you. This is what the snip tool looks like when you hit new, right? And so you take your cursor and you go like this, right? And then you go save as. And we're just going to call it our, right? It's so handy. I use it all the time. I had to talk to cast and crew the other day and actually show them a picture of something weird that happened in my PSL. I use the snip tool, really focus in on that, and then send them a picture of it. It's so helpful. Okay, so that's the snip tool. We went over the basic overview of Google Drive. Okay, now the problem with raw scans from our old task alpha is that, let me just show you. My neck was getting sore because in all of our files that were uploaded to G Suite, a lot of these were just raw scans that were uploaded, and that's fine. We're all learning as we go along, but one thing that I didn't like about these raw scans that were uploaded into G Suite that I had to look at on my computer is that, watch this. So these are some raw scans right here. I only have 3. I couldn't, you know, I'm working with hundreds and hundreds of files. You're working with hundreds, thousands of files. I would have loved to have shown you hundreds and thousands of files, but I can't do that because of confidentiality on my show. So I made 3 little samples for us to work with, okay? And a lot of times when I would open something on G Suite, or if I have a raw scan that I'm looking at, this is what it looks like. Okay. This is Joe Blow's time card. Okay. You have this orientation problem a lot of times, which you could solve if you were able to feed everything into the old task alpha all the right way. But especially, I mean, with a lot of things, and especially with payroll, you've got the time cards that are this orientation. And then you've got the box, form that's a different orientation. And then you've got the check stub, which is a different orientation. And so when I would need to look at these time cards, you're working with so many all day long, lots and lots of detail, way more detail than what I put in my silly little example. And physically, my neck was getting tired. There are a couple of things that you can do. I mean, you could go in. So, okay, we're in the Adobe Acrobat. I don't know what version you guys have, but you should get the Pro right away, in my opinion. I know that the Pro lets you use optical character recognition, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. It's pretty key for the digital filing, in my opinion. So I use organized pages quite a lot, at least when I first started. So, I would be looking at this stuff on G Suite, right? And I wouldn't want to look at it with this orientation like this, because I had lots of detail that I needed to see. So I would, do this and then open it back up. Well, that's really, really slow. And it was really annoying for me. I'm going to X out of here, and I'm not going to save because I'm going to show you some other things with it. Okay, so that's one of the problems. That's like my main problem with a raw scan. They're awful. So how do you go from a raw scan to something that you can actually use? It's pretty cool. I'm glad you asked. You go to your Adobe Pro, and we're gonna get rid of that. You go to Tools, right? So imagine I have 300. I'll show you. Imagine I have 300 separate scans, right? So this is our clerk's drive. This is actually a copy of the little jump drive that our clerk uses. And she and I name the files for her, and then she just has to put them in G Suite. And we're actually working on a program to where she doesn't actually have to put them into G Suite, because that takes a little bit of time for her when she could be doing other things. And if we can come up with a way to make that auto sync to where she doesn't have to do it, you're taking out the human error, and you're giving her time back so she can learn other things. She's learning how to do SAG, she wants to move up. I feel like no human should have to waste time that they don't have to waste doing a drag and drop for digital filing. So anyway, she gives me this giant drive with these are all raw scans, right? It would take like so long to rename all of them if you were cutting and pasting, right? So imagine that. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do my practice ones. But the process that I go through on this practice is the same process I go through for all of those other 300 payroll files every week. Okay, so we're going to go to Tools. You're in your Adobe Acrobat Pro, you go to Tools. There are a couple of different ways that you can get to Tools. What I like about all of these programs is you can get to the same place in a whole bunch of different ways. So you might find something that works different for you. But this is what I like to do. I go to Tools, and it shows me all of these tools that I have. The best one is this one, the Scan and OCR. OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition. It is so exciting. So we're gonna do this. So the first thing we're gonna do with a raw scan to make it usable is we're going to recognize the text in all of these files, right? So I recognize text in multiple files. You're going to add files. You could add folders. I like to add files. I feel like I can just keep up with what's going on a little better that way. You'll get a browser window. So when you want to add your files, we're going to go to my digital filing class. We're going to go to the three. Oh, wait, nope, that's not the one. We're going to go to, oh, here we go. These are my 3 that I made. I like to just control all. I'm really into using all the shortcuts that I can. And then I'm not even going to click with my mouse. You could click with your mouse open, or you could just hit enter since it's highlighted, right? Just hit enter. It's just another fast way to do it. You're going to tell it, it's going to recognize text using OCR on this set of files. Now, when I'm doing it for my whole entire paper to digital payroll, there are like 350 of them here. And I'm really happy to be able to tell you that I've been able to do 350 files at one time without it crashing, which I think is kind of amazing. But we're just going to do these 3 today. Okay. This is really cool. I never do the same folder selected at the start. I'm always going to choose a different folder. That's in case something weird happens. You always have your original data that you could go back to. I feel like for me, that is just a really great best practice to have. And just if you can train yourself to do the same thing every time, it'll not only become physical muscle memory, it'll become mental muscle memory. So I always choose another folder. I always make the folder at the time, right? So I'm going to browse. All right. So we're already in my Adobe raw scan samples, right? But we're going to call this Adobe Magic converted scan samples, right? We're going to hit enter. We don't remember, we could click, but we don't have to. We're just going to hit enter. What? Oh, wait, I need a new folder. There we go. We're going to do Adobe converted, Adobe Magic converted scans. Again, like I said, I'm a little nervous. Okay, let me select that folder.
Doing great, Anna. You're
fine. Thanks. Okay, so I made that folder, right? And then are we going to keep the original file names? No, this is a really important part. We're going to add to the original file name. So there are a couple of, you're going to use the process that works best for you, right? It's okay. You have no idea how many conversations I had with the data scientists about what my physical process was, so that they could help me come up with a good naming process for what I wanted. So the project that I'm working on, that I'm overseeing, is I have to scan 30 past weeks of payroll. So it's really helpful, and I'm doing it a person at a time, right? So it's like their whole file at a time. So when I do that, I just put their name in here. Like I would go, Metcalf, I would put it in all caps, but I would put Metcalf Anna, right? And then I would put a space, because that's really important. That's part of the naming convention. And then here. Okay, so then you just tell it, okay, cool. All right, and it's going to take a minute to convert these scans. It doesn't take very long. When I'm doing 300 scans, I usually do it at night. It takes about 45 minutes, something like that. And I just do it at night when I'm sleeping. So there we go. You just got to give it time to think and convert all the scans. And what it's doing is, just to explain what's happening, it's creating a layer underneath of your document, and it's recognizing all the letters in the document, even handwriting. It's pretty cool. But this optical character recognition is the key to being able to edit your documents. It's the key to being able to use your EverMap auto split plugin, which we're about to get to. And the coolest part about doing the optical character recognition on your raw scans is that it auto orients all of these pages, right? So you're not going to hurt your neck anymore looking sideways at something that's uploaded to Google Drive, because you're going to do optical character recognition on all of your files before they're uploaded to the drive. So when you open a file, it's big, it's beautiful, it's crisp, it's pretty, and it's automatically oriented. You don't have to hit the the arrow and waste your time doing any of that. Okay, cool. So we did that. Let's go back, and now we're going to look at our folder. Say these were our raw samples, our raw scans. Okay, and then we have these converted scans. Let's check it out. I told it to put my name on it. Let's see if it did. It sure did. It put my name on there. Now what we want is the week ending on those. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to teach the program yet how to read and find the week ending. We've been trying. We're going to keep going, keep working on it. But let me show you. Let's see here. The next thing. Okay. So let me show you. Okay, so now you know the concept of, the raw scans versus the converted scans. Oh, I know what I'm going to show you. Hold on. I want to show you how I taught, how I thought. Okay, we're going to I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about how to think like a programmer. So you have these digital problems, right, that you want to solve. You're an accountant, you're not a data scientist, but I want you to know that there are data scientists who can solve a lot of your digital problems. It's not hard for them to do. It doesn't take a lot of time. It might take a little bit of money. You got to pay them a couple $100 to write this code for you. But it's programmers like to solve these kinds of problems. They like to take kind of the human labor, or the stupid human labor, out of some of these processes, like renaming these files. Why waste our time doing it when we can have a data scientist help us? So I'm hoping that a few of the concepts and a few of the words that I use today can give you ideas and a little bit of a working vocabulary, so that if you are talking to a programmer, you can articulate kind of what it is you need. So programmers write scripts. I went to work the other day and I was like, my husband wrote a script for the filing. And people were like, that's so cool, he wrote a script. I'm like, not like that. It's, computer language to make my job easier. I'm gonna go back and share my screen again and actually show you how we magically rename a whole bunch of files. Are you ready? It is so exciting. Okay, share. There we go. Okay, and we're gonna go to, okay, here we go. So we're gonna go up here to my plugin. Okay, I have the auto rename PDF files plugin. It's from EverMap, and I love it. I have 7 days left on my trial version. I highly recommend everybody get the trial version. I think it's $150. I'm trying to get the show to buy it. They want to keep it for themselves, and that's fine. I don't know when I'll work next after this show, so I'm still trying to decide, if it's worth it for me to actually buy it and have it. We'll see. Okay, so this is really kind of the magic behind all of it. This is the text. This is this language right here, this computer language is called regex. I had never heard of it until I got this plugin. There are a lot of things I like about this plugin. The tutorials are pretty good, but again, I'm not a computer programmer. I don't really want to be a computer programmer. I'm not a data scientist. I'm an accountant. I want to go to work. I want to get the job done. I want to come home. I want to have my life. So for me to learn regex, it's just not something that I'm interested in doing. But my husband, the computer programmer, just happens to be working with regex at Eventbrite where he works. And so, you know, he said, this stuff is really easy. I don't understand why you guys can't do it yourselves. And I'm like, it's really not that easy. Part of the problem with the files, I'm sure if you've done any payroll at all, you understand what I say when, let me go back to my example here. Oops, here. I want to go back to my example here and show you what we had to do was come up with a way to teach the plugin to find the person's name and the week ending. So like, how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we do that in this document, right? So we have a few options. We have Joe Blow's time card here, right? We could maybe teach the plugin to go for his name right here, but then it's not last name, comma, first name, right? So that doesn't really help us very much. But the check stub was the one thing that was the same thing on every single file. Every single file is going to have a check stub. And so we went and we analyzed the whole entire check stub, and we finally realized that if we wanted to pull the name, our best bet was to do it right here. You can teach the plugin where to look on, wait, that's not what I want to do. You can teach the plugin where to look on your document, as like physically, you can give it parameters. We found that didn't work very well because when you're scanning, that's a really small field, right? You know, and when you're scanning, there's a little bit of variation physically in the scans that go through. So we found that if we told the plugin to look right there where the name was, that sometimes it would pull up, you know, like the street and like a bunch of other crap, and it just wasn't working very well. But then I had this brilliant idea. I was like, we're going to tell it to look and pull the information after the words remit to. So that's what my husband wrote the script for, right? And I'm going to go back and show you that. So see, he's adding the text by search. But our problem was that, you know, a lot of these people have a time card and then a check stub. So 2 pages, but then a lot of these people will have a time card, a kit rental form, and then a check stub, you know, and then so again, what I'm getting at is the constant. A lot of times with these plugins, you're looking for what is your constant? What is the thing that never changes, right? So the constant would be our check stub, but you couldn't just tell it to go to like page 2 and look on the check stub. We had to tell it to go to every page. And this is where a computer programmer will really come in, because that's some high level data stuff. So my husband basically wrote the script for 5 pages. If that check stub is within 5 pages, it will find the words remit to right here, and it will pull that person's name, last name, comma, first name, and automatically add it to the file name. We still haven't mastered teaching it where to look for the week ending. So what we do is we add a rule for the custom text, and we can change that, right? Let's do that. Here, wait. Oh, so you can, when you add a rule, you can ask it to find certain things. Regular expressions is longhand for regex, which is this code, this computer language that this plugin speaks. Strings is another computer programmer concept you'll hear a lot about, data strings, right? So as you can see, this is a language, it's a computer language. It probably isn't that hard to learn. A lot of you could probably learn it really easy. You know, if you do, cool, like share it with us, because not all of us really want to learn it. You can teach it where to search for text. Here, let's we'll play with that. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to edit the area. I'll show you what I did that didn't work, right? So I wanted to teach it where to look for text. So you can actually, you know, select a range. You can tell it to look at the name if that's where you want, and you can tell it, you know, in an exact way. But like I said, for me, for my purposes, it didn't work. For your purposes, knowing that might help. So that's another thing you can do with it. But this for me is what worked best. Okay, now I'm going to show you an actual demo with it. Remember, here, let's get out of here for a minute. Remember my clerk's drive. Here is my clerk's file, my clerk's jump drive right here. So she hands me this drive every week. Let's just say here, we're going to go to this one. The converted, no, that's not very many. We want a big week ending. Here we go. Oops. Okay. So what we want to do is convert all of these into what we're looking for, and it's week ending 2/27. So watch this. Okay. We're going to go here. We're going to go to plugins, auto rename PDF files. All right, now we are going to go, okay. Remember, I have taught myself to always move my files to another folder. So we're gonna click that button and we're gonna select our output folder. What we're gonna do here, and we're gonna create a new folder. We're gonna just call it Adobe Magic demo. Okay, I'm gonna select that folder. I'm gonna go okay. All right, we're gonna add a whole bunch of files. You get a browser window. I can go to the drive that we talked about and go here. Okay, I'm gonna select all, watch this, but then I'm gonna deselect some of these I don't need. Some of these have already been named, right? There's a faster way. There's a faster way to uncheck, but my keyboard is, I'm missing some buttons. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. So these are all the files. We have 310 files that have a name that doesn't work for us, and we're going to magically rename them. Okay. It's running that script in the background and it's pulling their name. Oh, there we go. That's the file. Okay, because weird. Usually it pulls the name. Huh. So, okay, something didn't work right. So let me go back to my plugin. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Let me try this again. Huh. Kind of embarrassed now. Let me go to my demo. My raw scan samples. All. Okay. Okay. Oh, huh. Weird. It's not pulling the name now. What am I doing wrong? Well, that's, let's see here. Add. Huh. Weird. Huh. I honestly don't know why it's not working. It should work. Let me show you. Huh. I'm gonna try it one more time. Well, here. Let me see here. Edit. No. Let me see here. Okay, I'm going to show you how you can edit your custom text rule. So like this is a rule that I had for putting the week ending on everything. If we want to edit that, it's really easy. So I can, I can go, oh, it's this last week ending that we filed. Okay, right there. Wow. I can't believe this part isn't working because it works really, really well. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to try it one more time. Let's see here. We're going to do this one and this one and this one and see what happens. Okay. Ah, weird. Y'all, I really don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Honestly,
is it because just would you mind flipping back to the original like section of where you are adding the names, the auto renaming? Yeah.
right here, yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Maybe I don't have it highlighted.
I was going to say, do you need to highlight all of the
well,
pages?
No, I normally just, it's all just right here. Let me try it again. Huh.
Like, is it I'm
gonna be mad if it doesn't work. Let me try it again.
I know it's always when there's 40 people breathing over your shoulder.
I know, right?
It's like trying to parallel park a car while someone's watching you do it. It's an impossible task.
Well, thanks for your support. I'm so disappointed because this works really, really well. Huh.
It's fine if you have to call your husband into the room. It's okay.
He left. He
left
to give us, our here, hold on. Hang on. I'm gonna do something else. Remember that snip tool? I saved all of his notes.
Tammy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, when you're selecting the rule, isn't the check copy page 3? Like when you
It is, but for when we're renaming like the hundreds of files, sometimes it's on page 2, sometimes it's on page 3, 4, 5, whatever. So that's why he wrote that script like that, because it keeps checking all of the pages. So like in my example, they're all on page 3, but when we're renaming hundreds of them, sometimes, so it needs to look at all the different pages.
Okay, I wasn't understanding if you were just selecting if you were just highlighting that first line, if it was applying all of the rules or just the top one. That was just me not understanding it then. Just checking.
No, it's all good. I'm
okay.
I must have hit something. I'm so embarrassed. Let me see here. We'll try this one. Huh. I don't want to add a rule. We'll try it this way. And we'll just do my 3 files, my 3 test files. Oh, here we go. Let me see here. Oh, weird. See, and it took my name off from, where I had put it on there. Hold on. I'm going to show you another tool. It's called Auto Renamer, which I really like. Easy File Renamer. Here we go. You can do a lot of stuff with this. It's kind of similar. Oh, yep. It's just another tool. I bought this myself. But as you can see, I feel like in my digital future, there's going to be a lot of talking to programmers and explaining what my problems are so that they can help me fix them. Here is Easy File Renamer. If I can get it to go to my screen, here we go. Cool. I feel like it's kind of similar to the other tool. We are going to, let's just replace some text. Let's say on my, let me see here. Let's add some files to look at first of all. Okay, we're gonna go to, here we go.
Hey, Anna, the everyone's trying to help you troubleshoot in the chat. So I just want I'm going to read their comments out loud. If there are hundreds of files and only third or fourth page is the check stub, how are the pages all renamed and regrouped together? And then Jennifer Wilbert asked, is it because the custom text is overriding and just naming them that and not what you're wanting? Like,
no, that script has worked for me every single time. So I don't know what's going wrong now. And because my husband is a computer programmer, and because he thinks in a real logical kind of computer programmer person way, when I was explaining to him that the check stub is sometimes on the second page, third page, fourth page, he said, you know what, I'm just gonna write the script for all the pages. So whatever page it's on, it'll pick it. And he did page 1 and it still works. So we left it. Okay. So I have these files here. This is in the easy file renamer. And I want to, let's say we're just going to find the name Anna and we're going to replace it with Susan just because we can. Okay, and we're going to add that rule. And as you can see right here, here's your current name for your document. Here's your new name for your document. You can do a lot of things like that in Easy File Renamer. You can, you can do a new name, you can remove text, trim text, you can put a prefix, you can put a suffix. I find that Easy File Renamer isn't as good as the auto split. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys this. Though sometimes I'll use this if like we had a typo in our week ending and I was like, oh man, and I uploaded all of my files to Easy File Renamer and I just fixed the typo like, you know, in 2 seconds. So that was pretty cool. So you go enter. Okay, so that's Easy File Renamer. I feel really bad, y'all. Hold on, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute and try to get, there we go. Huh.
hey, so real quick, Missy asked, you're for sure that the OCR reader has been run on all those files?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Perhaps redoing the OCR on that.
No, well, let's see here. I know that that's not it because when I did my 3 files, it renamed the 3 that we had converted and just put the week ending on. The file name. Huh. Want to do my load? What's my set? Oh no, I don't want to do that. Huh. I don't know. I'm really embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know. I promise you though, I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. How about that? I just want to,
So just to clarify,
yeah.
further questions in the chat. So the custom text that script is writing is, and it's adding to the end of the renamed file?
On that one, yes. And the reason why it's adding to the end is because, as you can see, it's kind of like a tree, right? Here's the first rule, second, third, and here, which is why. I'm gonna try it again. I'm so mad. I wonder. No, let me see here. Let's go back up. Let's go back up. Okay. It should pull the name. Ah, it didn't do it. Okay, I will tell you this. It's got to be some small little thing. When my husband and I, we were actually playing with this on Thursday night, trying to come up with trying to get it to read the week ending, and it's possible that we, moved some little character that is key to making it work right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I'm really embarrassed, but I will find the answer and I will get back to you. And I will give you guys a screenshot of the text when it works. I could even make a little video later and show you, make that available for everyone, of it actually working. That I can commit to.
I was just going to say really quick. So Jennifer asked maybe take off that script for the custom text and see if it works and is able to read it without adding the custom text to it. Okay. And then the other thing I was going to say for everybody on the call, I've seen this done, so it's for real. Yeah, it really does. if we are unable to fix this, technical difficulty, I'll be sure to record a tutorial with Anna directly, and we'll get it uploaded onto the local 161 website. Hi, everyone. So this is take 2 for our video from the other day with Anna Metcalf, who helped demonstrate some of the possibilities of the EverMap plugin for Adobe. And we've discovered what went wrong in her demonstration, which was that she created a set of documents for the demonstration that blocked out, obviously, all the personal information. And when she did that, the file structure was not the same. And she has very limited time this week. So I actually enlisted my husband here, Nathaniel Bell. He is pretty tech savvy and owns a digital tech company. I don't even know what he does. I'm just married to the guy. And he's kind of a jack of all trades, can do a lot of stuff. And he helped create demo documents for us and got the script to run, and it's here to show you how to do it. So Nathan, take it away.
Hi. So I will just run through it and see how it goes first. Show them working, and then we'll get into a little bit more of kind of how I got them to run, and go from there. So that's kind of the plan. So I'm gonna drop this over here and then share my screen here in a moment. So there we go. You see my screen?
I do see your screen. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to show the way that I structure things in folders just is for my peace of mind, for my workflow. So when you're getting scanned files, you're going to have them in a folder. And so this is just a couple of sample documents. You can see that there's a time card on top of this one, and then there is a box rental form, and then there's the stub, the pay stub. And on this one, it is different. The pay stub's on top, box rental form is sideways again, and then, or the time card and the box rental form is like that. So this is just showing a couple of ways. They're all handwritten. So we'll run it like that first. So the first thing that you would do is you have to make sure on Windows that you don't have them selected, which I know is weird, but when you have a preview up, it sometimes messes with things. So just make sure that you don't select it. You go to Adobe Acrobat and it'll pop up like that. The first thing that you have to do is that you have to do the OCR. If you're not familiar, that's optical character recognition, and it's built right into Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. And so you just click on Tools, as I just did, and you'll see Scan and OCR right here. It'll also, if you want to, you can put it over on your bar over here, but you can always get it through Tools. So then you'll see this screen, and you'll want to recognize text in multiple files. So you'll hit that and then come up here and add files. You can add folders, but that will take everything in them. And you don't really know what you're getting because you're just saying the folder. So it is a good practice to just add the files. And then you go to the place that you have the files, the raw scanned files. These, and then you choose them. You open them up in here. You'll see them here ready to go. You hit OK. Always put it into another folder so that you're not saving it in the same place because it can get very confusing. So I have set it up. So the next folder down is the temp OCR files because they won't stay there. So that's where I'm going to put them all. And then I always add something to them so I know that the difference between the original raw files and the ones that we are in process. So I put OCR at the beginning of it, and then it'll just use that original, whatever the scan name is, which we will be changing. I don't overwrite existing files just in case, but if you, it's probably a good practice not to, because that's when you could accidentally overwrite something. So hit OK. Now, this is a place that you can choose how you're going to scan it. Searchable image is the fastest way to scan, but what I found with these, especially handwriting ones, that it does not do a very good job of isolating text. And so unfortunately, the editable text in images is a lot more accurate, but it also takes about 3 times as long. So I'm going to do it with this. You might be able to try it with searchable image first and see if it works for you in your application. But for these handwritten and then scanned files, editable text and images, and you do want to keep this at the highest DPI that you can. So 600 is good. So there we go. We've started to scan them, and it takes a little bit of time. Each of these documents is 3 pages, and it froze. Awesome. Thanks. Okay. So it was just checking on some fonts there. But what we can see here is that in this temp OCR files folder that I have, we have these 2 files with the OCR doc at the beginning of them. So we've got them in there, and now we go back out of it again, deselect them, and then go back to your Adobe Acrobat. The next thing that you do is, I'm assuming that if you're here, you know that this is using EverMap auto split to do the renaming. So I'm not going to go into that, but once you have that, then you go up into plugins and you hit auto rename PDF files. This is the demo version, and it will watermark it. If you use this for real, you'll have to buy the real one because it does watermark demo across it in big bold print.
And just quickly to interrupt,
yeah.
I am looking into it because I know that this is 161 members and they want to know if I can get a discount on it. We are investigating the option of like a group discount on licenses of EverMap. So sorry,
fantastic.
You can continue.
This should work in the same way. It just watermarks it, as far as I know. So hit OK. So I'm going to load the settings that I worked on that I'm not going to go on. I'm not going to go into at this point of what it took to do that, but I'm going to load up. These are my settings that I put in here And the thing that, so don't worry about that right now. But what you do need to look at is make sure that you have moved successfully renamed folder files to another folder, and then you select the output folder. And I use, again, in this same file structure, renamed files, and select the folder. Now, the one thing down here that you'll see is that I am getting the name. The name will end up being the last name, comma, first name. And then I have added the space, TC for time card, because that matches up to what it was before. Space the year, which just pulls the current year, so that'd be 2021, and then underscore and 0417 for the week ending. So that's what that is down here. And that's what it should come up to when we go through and rename them. So there we go. So we get to this file, or we get to this window, and we add files. Now we need to make sure that we don't add the scan files, we add the temp OCR files. So we want to add it from there. Choose your files, open them in there, and then hit OK. And it should, after doing it, and it did for us here, it pulls the name out of each of them with the TC and all this. And this is just a preview. It's not done yet. So that you have to hit rename first, and then it can give you a log. You can open the processing log for review, and that will just show you what has happened, that they've all been renamed. So then you can save it or close it. So there we go. And then you go into your renamed files, and there you can see this one. I don't know if you can see it, but this one matches the name on it. And again, these are completely fictionalized names, as well as Naomi, whose name is actually not pulled off of the first page, but in fact, it's off of the third page. And that's just going very quickly. So yeah, so you can see it actually came off of this page right here. So that's that. So that's in the kind of in-depth look at where it's pulling it off of, that it pulls off of, you know, different pages, all with the same script. So the next thing is to see it do it to a bunch of them all at once. And for that purpose, we have one other thing here. So let's go into it from here. So the first thing that we have to do, once again, it is the same process. You have to take the raw files. So we will do the same thing, go to Tools, Scan OCR, Recognize text in multiple files, and then we add the files, right? So in my case, I have them in just a different, looks very similar, but it's just for different. So the original files are right here, and I've got 100 of them in here, but just for the sake of doing the OCR on them, I'm not going to do 100. I'm going to do 20. So there you go. 1 through 20 are in there. Hit OK. Again, you have to target your folder, and I already have it built. I do this in advance when I do these types of things. You might want to as well, or you can make it at the time. Just for keeping it consistent across all of your filing, I would highly recommend having a temp file already in here that you can take out after everything has been renamed and you're done with that, but it's up to you. So I'm going to choose that. Hit select folder. Always add to original file name so that you don't have confusion. And again, this is just an interim name so that you know that it's done it. And then again, I don't use overwrite existing files. So just in case. So again, I'm going to do editable text and images. You might be able to use search image, but there we go. So this will take a little while. A few minutes here, and more than likely we're going to just speed this part up for you. So if you see it kind of go faster than you think it, and it goes very quickly, that's because we sped it up for you. So I am going to say that during this, while it just finishes up here, that this does take quite a bit of time. And I did a test on all 100 files. They're three pages each, and it took about 20 minutes, and that's on my machine. It's a very fast machine. So this is definitely something that you put going for this portion of it, and then go do something else. And even if you have digital files that are not PDFs or not readable PDFs, you're still going to have to do the OCR on it. That's a JPEG, that's a non-readable PDF, that's any of those, because these are all PDFs. You just have to make sure that it's readable now.
What about something like a Showbiz time card, which is a PDF of that's digital and it's all already letters? Do you think that that would require the image and text, or do you think you could get away with just running the text feature on it?
Well, it would depend. You just have to try it. If it picks it up, then it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And it could very well be what the settings on that PDF that you get are, and that could vary. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'd have to actually try one live.
Cool.
So you can't really tell if it's going to pick it up until you try it. And the OCR is a good way to recognize that text. So now that the OCR has run and we're back into this, let's just confirm that we do in fact have them in the OCR file. So that's the original files. This is the temporary OCR file. So that's all 20 of them. So that's good. So we are going to be putting them into the renamed file, and that's what we're going to do right now. So now, again, make sure that you don't have any of those files in your preview window here, because Adobe doesn't like it.
I think this was actually something you mentioned before we recorded this, that would probably be really helpful for people to know. Since so many people are working digitally and remotely, a lot of people have these files on a server. Is it a good idea to move these files off the server?
Absolutely. I found that, especially with Dropbox, I can't speak to all network accessible, storage systems or cloud storage systems, but I found that it would have problems with the files that I had if I was working in Dropbox. And I do this a lot with a lot of Adobe programs, and it works pretty well for most of it. But specifically for these processes, it would skip it. It wouldn't be able to read it. It would say that it was being accessed by another program. And so it would fail for some of the files, if not all the files. So I found that the best way to do it was to just, for the working files, pull it onto my desktop, work on it there. Once I'm done with it, then drop it back onto the NAS or the Dropbox or the OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever it is.
Cool, thank you.
No worries. So we are at the point that we are going to use the plugin. And so once again, we go to plugins, we go to auto rename PDF files. It gives us the demo thing again. And I'm going to use a different set of settings just because that's how I got it to work. So I'm going to grab this. And that loads in a different set of settings, but again, it will still say in the same format, last name, comma, space, first name, space, TC, space, the year, 2021, _ 0417 for the weekend. Again, make sure that you have this check to be able to move it. You want to make sure that it is the correct file that you want it to put into. So you can go there and select the folder, and you'll see it right down there. And then we hit OK. And now we add our files. So again, we go back to this folder, temp OCR files, choose them all, open, they go right in there, hit OK. And there we go. And so there you can see in the preview that they're all there. And so we'll hit rename. And this is the log. Again, you can save it just to make sure that there's proof that it's all been done and which ones went to which ones if you ever have a problem later, but I doubt that you would need that. And then we double check in here, and there they are. Last name, comma, first name, underscore TC, and so on. Now,
Awesome.
so there we are. And each one of these, you can see here that during the OCR process, it flipped these so that they are all the right way up now. So instead of being sideways during that OCR process, it turned them so that you can actually read them.
Just a point of clarity, because I know that people are going to watch this and they're going to see that Dimitri Joyner's check is attached to
Yes.
right.
Thank you.
Just so you know, this was a deliberate choice on our part because we were scanning them and not wanting to have to create a million time cards.
And I only hand wrote 2 time cards and then copied them, and 2 box rental forms and copied them, the 2 that you saw earlier, and then just created 100 individual
check
stubs with, and again, this is all completely fictitious, 100%. In fact, these are randomly generated names and randomly generated addresses. So don't go trying to send anything there, because the USPS will just send it back to you.
So just so that everybody that's watching this understands, the check stubs are the part that the OCR work has read, and that the plugin
is done by
the plugin renaming is done by that information sourced off of the check stub.
Yes.
So if the rest of your this scenario works best for the situation that Anna was using it, which is a situation in which you have real live paper files that you are scanning in and needing to make them into digital files and have them be named automatically. So in this situation, you are using this only for the purposes of something that's already been batched together and assuming that it's been batched together correctly. This is not searching each one of these documents. Just wanted to clarify that for everybody watching.
Yes, this is that very specific use case.
This is a very specific use case. And as you may have noticed, it's gotten quite dark outside. Apologies. Just want to explain. I had to hop off and get on another Zoom, and I have returned. So this is part 3 of the EverMap auto split plugin tutorial.
So Anna was showing this for what she was using it for, which was for handwritten and scanned on her scanner through her system that her husband had coded specifically for, to make it work in her workflow, in her office workflow. And in the process of me kind of reverse engineering with some help, she, on her Zoom, she showed the kind of what the commands were that her husband had put in to be able to search on different pages and that sort of thing. I became pretty familiar with EverMap's auto split, and it's a very powerful plugin. I'm not a shill. I don't have any stock in it. I literally still only have the demo, but there's a lot of potential. Even outside of this specific use case that I was able to make work for this demo and to kind of show that what she said could happen. but there were a lot of pitfalls, and there were a lot of, I wouldn't call them workarounds, but working through problems that it's definitely not just a like throw, you know, cut, paste, throw it in, and it's going to work in every case. It's just not the case. And so I wanted to share just a little bit of my process going through it, so that if somebody is interested in using this, that they understand that it is a bit of a process and a customization for whatever you're using it for. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my screen here. So. Pull that back over there. Right. So this is where we were at. So what I wanted to talk through, like you said earlier, is that all of the information that we're pulling, the information to rename the files, is because of Anna and her husband's hard work in figuring out that the only way in an all handwritten situation is that the only kind of halfway reliable bit of printed information and unique information is on the pay stub itself. So it's not reliable. Oh, I went to the scan videos here. So it's not, you really can't get anything off of here because all of the relevant information is handwritten. And you know, you can't get the week ending, you can't get the name really, because though OCR says, Adobe's OCR says that it has handwriting recognition, what it says is it will recognize that these are characters, but not necessarily the characters that they actually are by any stretch of the imagination. And again, off the box rental form, you couldn't really pull anything off. So no matter where this—
Sorry, just to interrupt you really quickly. Frankly, I think that for a lot of accountants that are watching this, they wouldn't want to necessarily pull that information, even if they could, because so many crew members will use nicknames or, I mean, I hate to say it on a live video here, but sometimes those time cards are put together by a best boy or a coordinator, and so they're not even spelling the person's name correctly. So actually the most reliable source of the legal name is off the check stub. And even if it could read those other files accurately or well, those probably aren't going to present the legal names that you would need it filed under.
Fair enough. For this situation, that completely makes sense. The problems that I had were that the Adobe did not always necessarily read these as what we see them as. Case in point, right here, if you go into the edit PDF, you can see that the way that it pulls it is because it has created a text box around this. And so you're searching on the page for the words remit to, which I don't know how many people are watching this that watched the last ones, but just as a refresher, the code that that she had worked out with her husband always looks for the words remit to, and then takes the name after it. And so the problem is that when you run that and the computer thinks that, so let's just copy remit to Nathaniel Bestest here, right? Bestest Nathaniel. So I'm just going to Control-C, copy that. And then I'm going to add a text box over here and paste it. Well, the computer thinks that it has interpreted remit to as REMFF space TO. space. So instead of when I was having a problem that I was trying to search for remit to, and the computer kept coming up with nothing. It kept saying that it wouldn't run properly. It wouldn't pull anything because it had no remit to find. And so I didn't get what came after it. So what I ended up having to do was I had to learn to like what all this was. And the original one that she gave us that worked for her, for whatever reason, in her combination of scanner, the version that she had, the physical document, the scanner that she had, the quality that the scanner was scanning at, all of those things apparently were good enough that the OCR, Adobe's OCR, could recognize every time apparently for her remit to as those letters instead of letters that are not those. So what I had to do is I had to create exception cases to search for REMFF space TO instead of REMIT space TO. I had to do REMRR space TO, REMRR no space TO. And I had to find all of the things. I had to basically, by trial and error, figure out what Adobe was thinking those letters were optically. And it was interesting because I would figure it out. I would go back to the same original file. I would run it through the same exact process again in OCR, and it would come up with something else. And so I had to put that into it as well. And then I had to delete all of those, start from the original raw file, scan it again, and do it until basically I found that it would continue on with it. And so it is a bit of a moving target when you have a program interpreting what it sees optically, because if you look at that with the bleed over and with the scan and with the sharpening and whatever else happens, that it's very easy to lose the actual shape of letters sometimes. And so you have to be careful with that. You have to set, you can't just trust that it will be absolutely perfect every time. And that's what I had to figure out. And I'm not going to get into the full troubleshooting of how I did all of this, but I'll do just a quick teaser on it that I kind of half teased earlier. But so the original ones that I was working off of, oh, no, that wasn't it. Let's see. No, that wasn't it either. Basically what it was
It was about 5 lines. It was the one that she used during her demonstration.
Exactly. It was that. So basically it had this one and this one and or this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And so it was looking for remit space to space. This is /S is a space in this computer language. So remit space to space. And so what I had to do is I had to make it look for REMRR space TO and REMRR TO and remit, you know, and this is, and then I ended up with 5 different versions of it in kind of the final one that I figured out would work on pretty much all of them. And thus, so that's one part of it. So the OCR might not recognize the remit to part of it. It also might not recognize the comma as a comma. It might recognize it as a period, or it might not recognize that this is one space because of whatever spacing on the check. It might recognize it as 2 spaces. And in fact, in the instance that I showed you in the 20 files, one of them I noticed in fact, is a period instead of a comma. So there's going to be exceptions to this. It's not just a set it and forget it solution. There is going to have to be some maintenance and some customization to it. The other part of it that I found is that when I was having it search, I couldn't have it search the entire document for whatever reason. And so in this plugin, when you make a text by search, you can also choose where you want that to look for it. And sometimes making that search area too big would make it not find it. Sometimes making it too small would make it not find it. Sometimes the variance in where it shows up on each page would make it not find it. But with finding what your use case is going to be and some finessing of it, you can make it work. It just takes some work. So and it's all done in this, as she said, regex, which is regular expressions, which is a way of programming. And if you're interested, please reach out. I am not an expert in this, but I learned it enough to do this, and I kind of created like a little, just a little primer kind of. If you're welcome to screenshot this or get in touch with Laura, and she can send this over to you to just kind of give you an idea of what went into this and then how to change it, because changes will have to be made on a case-by-case basis. That's all I have to say. That being said, do I think that this plugin is incredibly useful and powerful and can save time? Yes. Absolutely. And not only that, but again, I have no stock in EverMap, but there are other plugins that they have, and obviously other companies, but I was just working with a couple of theirs, such as their auto mail merge, which is a really good way to get information into files and create forms that then auto populate from a list. Really cool. Create a lot of documents all from the same data source, like an Excel file. Really cool. They're not cheap. I think each of the ones that I looked at, I know that the auto split is, I think, $150, and the auto mail merge is, I think, $150 as well. So I'm sure that they're mostly around that. But for it takes some setup, but for the time and the money, for how much time versus manually doing all of this versus just having it do most of it and then checking to make sure that it's right, just having a look at it to make sure that it looks right. Incredible amount of possibility. Incredible amount of possibility. So.
Yeah, I kind of want to just build on that a little bit and say, even in the situation in which you're showing that like a comma was read as a period, that type of slight difference in file format, when you're talking about a clerk that would have to manually type that number of names, I mean, computer error is going to be far less than clerks typing error, and that's even the best of clerks. I mean, you're just going to make mistakes. So overall, this is definitely a time saver regardless. And then knowing that these programs have such incredible capabilities, just in the last 2 days, Nathan and I have been playing around with this just to get a sense of it and other ways that it could be used. Obviously, we put this together to finish off the demonstration that Anna was unable to show us on Saturday, but there's so much more that can be done. Some things that Nathan and I discovered was just the ways that you, as he was saying, you can use the other plugins, and like the mail merger has this ability to transfer an Excel document into forms. So ways that you could use that on a show is if you weren't using one of the new START programs like Start Plus or Smart Start, and you actually wanted to be able to digitally send start work out through DocuSign or something, this could do it automatically. You could literally just have a spreadsheet of people's names and the rates, and it would plug in the information automatically into a PDF and mail it out to the employees. There are so many incredible capabilities of these.
I don't know about DocuSign, but like through, I'm sure it's
or Adobe,
through,
sorry.
through Adobe
sorry.
Sign at least. I'm
Adobe
fairly
Sign.
sure, but
And if you were on a show that you had to use it on DocuSign, it could be, it gets placed into a PDF. So then of course, in DocuSign, you can then upload a PDF and send it out. So
yeah.
and
also just all the other time-saving things that go along with this that Anna, I think, spoke briefly about, and there are a lot of options about it for renaming of files. So in one fell swoop, you could do all of this, know that some of them are going to have maybe, you know, a period instead of a comma, or a you know, 2 spaces instead of 1, and then just run a pass over it, either, you know, with another program, and just do a simple you know, find and replace of, if you find a, you know, period space, replace it with a comma space. Now, there are a lot of exceptions to this working flawlessly. You know, we tested this with 2 names each. We did not test this with 3 names. We did not test this with a middle initial. We did not test this with a prefix or suffix. Junior, senior, we didn't try any of those. We did not try 2 of them with the same name, which would be an interesting thing to try. And I think that it would work, and I think it would iterate. But again, like I said, this is not the end all be all, and it will take finding all of those exceptions, because payroll is nothing if not exceptional, to see kind of how those work, and then either working it through yourself or finding somebody that's comfortable working through those problems, and having a support structure of some type to go along with all of these.
Nathan, thank you again. And sorry, everyone, for the most cut together video of all time.